Hey everyone, ready to become learning rock stars? We're doing a deep dive today on mastering modern learning. And that's perfect timing because knowing how to learn, it really is like a superpower these days. What do you think?
It really is. Learning isn't just about classrooms and textbooks anymore. It's a whole new ball game.
So true. The book starts off strong, it actually says. Gone are the days when education was confined to the classroom and ended with graduation. I mean, how true is that? It's exciting, but also kind of intimidating,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. I mean, that whole idea that you finish learning after graduation, that's just like gone. Think about how much the world's changed even in the last 5 years. If you aren't learning all the time, constantly changing, it's easy to feel left behind.
For sure. And that's exactly why we're tackling this topic, to help you navigate this whole new world of learning. So tell me, when was the last time you learned something new? And I mean, completely outside of work or some kind of formal course.
What's really interesting is that this new way of learning, it's all about you. It's about agency. You decide what, when, and how you want to learn. No more one-size-fits-all system. Now it's all about making learning fit your goals, your dreams.
Which brings us to the tech side of things. I mean, let's be real, we're bombarded with these online courses, apps, these virtual workshops. It can be overwhelming to say the least.
It's true, yeah. But the thing is, you don't have to get bogged down in trying every single new tool. Instead, just think about what works for you. This book talks about all these different learning styles, like, are you someone who learns best by reading? Or maybe you're more visual, you love a good documentary.
Oh, that's such a good point. I remember back in school struggling with textbooks, but then I'd watch a documentary and boom, suddenly it all made sense. Why didn't they just show us this stuff in class?
Right. Understanding how you learn best, it can be huge. And that's the beauty of learning online. There really is something for everyone. But, and this is big,
Here it comes.
it's not enough to just consume information. We have to be critical thinkers too. The book talks about this thing called digital literacy, which isn't just knowing how to use tech, but being smart about the stuff it throws at us.
It's like that saying, don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, who's giving me this info? What's their deal? Are there other points of view out there? That kind of thinking, being critical, that's what takes you from just reading stuff to actually learning.
And those skills help in so many areas of life, don't they?
Oh, totally. Evaluating news, making big career decisions, even scrolling through social media, having those critical thinking skills, it makes all the difference.
You know, it's funny, when I think about learning online, I always picture someone like glued to their computer, totally by themselves. But this book, it makes a really interesting point. It doesn't have to be that way at all.
Right. It really focuses on the social side of learning. Even in this digital age, it argues that community is so key.
Which makes total sense. Learning in a vacuum, it's tough. But knowing other people are out there on the same journey, that's motivating, isn't it?
Totally. I mean, think back to like study groups back in school. Or even just, talking through an idea with a classmate. Having that support, it makes a huge difference.
Huge. And the cool thing is, even if we're not physically together, tech can actually help us build those connections.
That's what I find so fascinating. We tend to think of tech as isolating us, but the book shows how it can be this amazing tool for connection, for collaboration. Think about it, online forums, virtual study groups, even social media can be used to connect with people who share your interests.
It's like taking that study group and expanding it to the whole world, right? People you might never have met otherwise, but you have these shared passions.
Exactly. And that's huge for so many reasons. One, it keeps you accountable. When you know you're not alone, it's way easier to stay engaged.
It's true. It's like having an accountability partner, but for your brain.
Exactly. And beyond just that, being part of a learning community, it means you're exposed to all these different perspectives. I mean, everyone comes to the table with their own experiences, their own way of thinking. Just hearing how someone else approaches a problem, that can be so eye-opening.
It's like that saying, if you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Exactly. And let's not forget the emotional support, right?
Yeah.
Learning's tough. There will be times when you get stuck, you get frustrated. Having people to turn to just for encouragement, advice, to commiserate, even it makes all the difference.
Oh, tell me about it. I remember trying to teach myself this new programming language a while back, and I just hit this wall. So frustrating, I almost gave up. But then I found this online forum, and just connecting with other people who got it, who are willing to help, it honestly changed everything.
See, that's a perfect example of how even introverts can benefit from these online groups. It's not about being the loudest voice, it's about finding your people and engaging in a way that works for you.
And there are so many ways to do that, right? Join a forum, participate in a webinar, even start a little study group with your friends. The possibilities are kind of endless.
It really is like having this 24/7 buffet of learning communities at your fingertips.
Wow, time flies when you're having fun, right? Or when you're diving deep into learning, I guess. Feels like we've covered so much, from figuring out how you learn best to the power of community.
It's been quite a journey. Really shows you how much things have changed, how we learn, how we even access information these days.
Totally. Remember those days of like dusty old textbooks, feeling like you had to memorize every single thing?
And now it's not even just about what you know, it's how you learn, how you adapt to new stuff all the time.
That's what I took away from this book big time. Being a lifelong learner, it never ends, does it? It's not like you hit a finish line and you're done.
Right. It's about always growing, always taking on those challenges.
Which honestly can feel kind of overwhelming sometimes. But gotta say, after this deep dive, I'm feeling good, like energized. If we can figure out how to use this digital world to our advantage for learning, the sky's the limit.
I'm right there with you. So before we wrap up, what do you say we do a quick recap? Just bring it all together.
Love it. What were your biggest aha moments?
Well, first off, I think we busted that myth that learning has to look a certain way. Like there's no one right way to do it anymore. It's about finding what works for you.
Exactly. Embrace your inner learning rebel, right? Whether you're all about those books or you love a good podcast like this one, hopefully, or maybe you're hands-on, the important thing is to do it on purpose. Be intentional about how you're learning.
And don't forget, tech is our friend here, not the enemy. It's about using it in a smart way, picking the tools that help you learn best.
So true. And we can't forget about the power of other people, even when we're learning online. Find your people, online forum, study group, whatever works for you. It makes the whole journey way more fun.
It's so important, that sense of discovery together, supporting each other along the way.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on mastering modern learning, I'm left with one question for everyone listening. What's one skill you're going to try to master in the next month? What are you curious about? Something that excites you, something that can make a real difference in your life.
That's a great question. What will your next learning adventure be?
And on that note, that's a wrap on this deep dive. Until next time, happy learning, everyone.